This podcast is brought to you by TrophySmack.com and Right It Down the Middle podcast.
So the podcast we're listening to today is Toon Talk 2.0 with Virus Vox and Jake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, and the episode is called The Oscars Should You Care?
Ooh, very topical.
Very much so.
Oh, yeah.
And it was recently posted to the Pantheon Podcast's YouTube channel.
Okay.
So that you can probably guess from the title.
Yeah.
They're mainly talking about the whole Academy Awards ceremony that just happened.
Makes sense.
So
what did they cover?
Well, they mentioned the red carpet.
Oh, okay.
But they said that they already talked about it in another episode or something.
Yeah, right.
But they did get into this opening movie montage
Okay.
that they had. And from how they described it, it sounded like this big love letter to Los Angeles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they showed clips from movies like La La Land and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Very LA-centric movies.
Very LA-centric.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of interesting that they did this big celebration of LA
Yeah.
while the city's still, recovering from those wildfires.
Right. Yeah, that is kind of interesting
Yeah.
to be celebrating while they're still, putting out fires and stuff.
Exactly.
It's kind of a weird juxtaposition.
It is.
Yeah.
But, so they get into the ceremony itself
Okay.
pretty quickly. And, of course, Conan O'Brien was the host this year.
Oh, right.
So they talk about his comedic style,
Yeah.
which, classic.
Very dry.
Very dry, very sarcastic.
Yeah.
And, they mentioned he had all these little jokes about the nominees.
Oh, yeah. What were some of them?
Well, there was one where he kept calling someone named Ralph. Ray Fine. Yeah, like it was this running gag.
Okay. I can see Conan doing that.
Oh, yeah. And then they talked about how Adam Sandler showed up in,
Oh, yeah. What was he wearing?
super casual clothes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they were saying he looked like he was ready to play poker or something.
So not a tux.
No, not even close.
Oh, that's pretty bold.
Yeah.
For the Oscars.
For the Oscars? I mean, come on.
Right.
But,
Did they get into any of the controversy?
oh, yeah, they mentioned the whole Carla Sofia Gahn thing.
Right.
With the nomination for Amelia Perez.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It was all over Twitter.
Yeah.
And apparently Conan made some joke about his name being Jimmy Kimmel,
Oh, yeah.
which,
Kind of addressing it without addressing it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of acknowledged it,
Right.
but in a very Conan way.
Yeah, subtle.
Yeah.
I could see that.
And then they started going through the awards.
Okay, so who won?
Well, Karen Cullen won Best Supporting Actor,
Oh, wow.
and then Zoe Sal actually became the first Dominican-American to win Best Supporting Actress,
Oh, that's awesome.
which is huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
For representation and everything.
Exactly. And then Flo,
That's the animated one, right?
yes, won for Best Animated Feature,
Okay.
and it was Latvia's first ever Oscar.
Oh, wow. So they were really excited.
Oh, yeah, they were going crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool to see.
So are we seeing more international films win these days?
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, they also talked about how the team behind In the Shadow of the Cypress,
Yeah. What was that one?
it won Best Animated Short Film.
Okay.
But apparently they almost didn't make it to the ceremony
Why?
because they had all these visa issues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like they were scrambling to get everything sorted out at the last minute.
That's stressful.
Yeah,
Imagine winning an Oscar but not being able to be there.
I know, right?
Wow.
And then Paul Tazwell won Best Costume Design for Wicked.
Wicked, the musical.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he became the first black man to ever win in that category.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a really big deal.
Yep.
And then The Substance took home Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
Oh.
Dune. Part 2 won for both Best Sound and Best Visual Effects.
So Dune cleaned up in the technical categories.
Yeah, they did pretty well.
Okay.
And Conclave won for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Okay.
I'm Still Here, which is a Brazilian film, won Best International Film.
Oh, cool.
And then-
I'm the best picture.
Oh, yeah, that went to Anora.
Honora. Okay.
But before that, Brutalist won Best Cinematography,
Yeah.
Best Original Score,
Right.
and Adrian Brody won Best Actor for it.
Wow. His second one.
Yeah, his second Oscar.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And, they mentioned how he gave this really long acceptance speech.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Longer than usual?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how long are we talking?
I don't know. They didn't say exactly, but they made it sound like it was going on for a while.
Okay.
And then, like I was saying, Anora took home Best Picture.
Okay.
And they also won for Best Original Screenplay,
All right.
Best Film Editing, Best Director for Sean Baker, and Best Actress for Mikey Madison.
Wow. So they really cleaned up.
They did.
Okay.
But they also talked about some of the other moments from the ceremony.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, apparently Andrew Garfield and Goldie Hawn.
What an interesting pairing.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But they gave this really touching tribute to Garfield's mother.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I like them both.
And then there was this whole James Bond tribute performance.
Oh, cool.
Which featured...
So formed.
It was a pretty diverse group.
Okay.
There was Margaret Qualley,
Oh, yeah, I like her.
Lisa from Blackpink,
Oh, wow, okay.
Doja Cat, and Raye.
Wow, that's an interesting mix.
Yeah?
What kind of music did they do?
They didn't go into detail,
Okay.
but they made it sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
And,
Was there an in memoriam segment?
oh yeah, there was a tribute to Gene Hackman,
Oh, yeah.
who sadly passed away
He
recently.
was a legend. So
Yeah.
many great films.
And then Queen Latifah did a performance honoring Quincy Jones.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it sounded like a really nice tribute.
It does.
Oh, and before I forget, they had a sponsor break
Okay.
where they shouted out Trophy Smack.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
They make like custom trophies and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you can get like a little Oscar statue
Yeah,
for
exactly.
yourself.
And they also mentioned the Down the Middle podcast.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So what did Virus and Jake think about the Oscars?
Well, after the break, they got into their own opinions.
Okay.
And they were kind of questioning how relevant the Oscars even are these days.
Oh, yeah. Like, do they even matter anymore?
Exactly.
Especially with all the streaming services and stuff.
Right. Like, do they even reflect what people are actually watching?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And they also had some thoughts about the quality of some of the nominated movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They specifically mentioned Anora.
Even though it won Best Picture?
Yeah. I guess they weren't that impressed with it.
Okay, interesting.
And they also weren't crazy about the song that won for Best Original Song,
Oh, yeah. What was that one again?
El Mal.
Mall. Okay.
But the thing that really got them going was the whole Amelia Perez situation.
Oh, right. The nomination.
Yeah, the nomination and the fact that she actually won.
It sounds like they weren't happy about it.
Not really, no.
What about their audience?
They said they were getting a lot of comments from their listeners about it, too.
Okay.
And it sounded like a lot of people were not happy.
So it was a controversial win.
Oh, yeah. Very controversial.
Okay.
And then they actually brought on some guests.
Oh, cool. Who was it?
It was this band called Back from Death.
What kind of music did they play?
Death metal.
Death metal. Okay.
Yeah, and they talked about how they got together,
Okay.
what their musical style is,
Yeah.
which they said is influenced by bands like Cannibal Corpse and Suffocation.
Wow. Old school death metal.
Yeah, and some newer bands too, but they didn't name any specifics.
Okay.
They also talked about their new album, Enslaving the Dead.
It's a cool title.
And they have a concert coming up in Kelso, Washington.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else did they talk about with the band?
Well, they got into their influences,
Yeah.
like all the different bands that shaped their sound.
Okay.
And there's a pretty wide range. There
Mhm.
was Kiss, Iron Maiden, Slayer, Metallica, Creator.
Wow, that's a lot of metal.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then Death, Lamb of God, Meshuggah.
Okay, so like classics and some newer stuff too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they even mentioned AC/DC and Cliff Burton specifically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they shared some stories about how they first got into metal.
That's always cool to hear.
Yeah, like when they were kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And they moved on to talking about some newer bands,
How cool.
like Sleep Token and Ghost.
I've heard of Ghost.
Yeah, they're pretty popular.
Yeah.
And they even talked about how metal has evolved with bands like Avenged Sevenfold.
Interesting.
Yeah, like how they've kind of brought in different elements and stuff.
Oh, right.
And then they actually got into how Back from Death writes their songs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like their whole process,
Yeah.
like who comes up with what and how they collaborate.
Yeah, that's always interesting to hear,
Yeah,
like how the sausage gets made.
exactly.
So what happened after the band left?
Well, then they brought on another guest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they went back to talking about the Oscars,
Okay.
and they shared some more of their own thoughts
Yeah.
and a lot of comments from their listeners.
Oh, like
Like they were reading them out loud
about.
about the Amelia Perez thing,
Yeah.
Zoe Sal's win,
Okay.
and just the whole point of the Oscars in general.
Like, are they even worth it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they even had some debates about whether certain movies were actually good enough to win.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they even brought up Moonlight.
Which one a few years ago?
Yeah, but I guess they didn't think it deserved to win. And someone even brought up the possibility of the awards being rigged.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like some conspiracy theory stuff.
Interesting.
And then they talked about Halle Berry and Adrian Brody being in the ceremony.
Okay.
And they shared some audience opinions about movies like Crash and La La Land.
So they were really getting into it.
Yeah, they were going all over the place.
With the audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they kept coming back to Conan O'Brien's hosting and the Adam Sandler thing.
Okay.
Like, those really seem to be the highlights for them.
Yeah, those are the things people are going to remember.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then they start speculating about who might host the Oscars next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they threw out some names like Nikki Glaser and Shane Gillis.
Oh, wow. Those are some interesting choices.
I know, right?
Very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
And then they mentioned Timothée Chalamet's performance in something.
Oh, yeah. I like him.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
But they didn't say which movie it was.
Okay.
And Adrian Brody's speech came up again.
Oh, right. The long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they went back to the big question.
Oh.
Are the Oscars even about artistic merit anymore?
Yeah. Or is it all just about politics and money?
Exactly.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
And then they got into the VFX awards.
Oh, yeah.
They mentioned Dune, Part 2,
Yeah.
again,
Okay.
and a movie called Better Man.
Okay. I haven't heard of that one.
Me neither.
Okay.
But they also talked about Robbie Williams' acceptance speech at some Australian award show.
Okay. So they're looking beyond Hollywood now.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Okay.
And then they had this kind of funny idea
There was another.
about whether Bad Bunny should do the soundtrack for an Amelia Perez type movie.
Okay. That's weird.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But kind of funny.
Yeah, I guess.
And then one of the hosts was complaining about the streaming experience on Hulu.
Oh, yeah. Was it bad?
Yeah, apparently there were some technical issues.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, especially for a live event.
Yeah, you want to be able to watch it without any problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then get this.
What?
One of the hosts actually said that some big development in professional wrestling
Oh, wow.
was more impactful to him than the whole Oscars.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened?
It involved John Cena,
Oh, okay.
but they didn't go into detail.
Yeah.
And then they had this whole debate about whether wrestling is art.
Oh, wow. That's a big question.
Yeah, like, is it entertainment or is it art?
I don't know.
Good question.
Yeah.
And then finally, they wrapped things up with some recommendations for their listeners.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they said to check out the Down the Middle podcast episode about John Cena,
Okay.
a movie called Mickey 17,
All right.
the Reacher TV series,
I've heard of that one.
and this specific YouTube song about the Oregon Trail.
Oh, yeah, the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called You Have Died of Dysentery.
Oh, wow. That's specific.
Yeah.
But, I kind of want to hear it now.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Let's go.
So, what do we think?
Well, I think by listening to how Virus and Jake approached this whole Oscars thing,
Yeah.
we got a pretty good sense of what the big talking points were,
Right.
who the main winners were,
Yeah.
and definitely a feel for all the different opinions and reactions that the whole event generated.
Okay.
It wasn't just about, like, who won what.
Right.
It was about, like,
The bigger picture.
yeah, the bigger picture of, like,
Yeah.
what the Oscars even mean anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In today's world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think about their take?
I thought it was interesting. Like, they didn't just report on it. They
Okay.
really got into their own opinions.
Yeah.
And they brought in the audience, too.
Which I thought was cool.
Yeah, me too.
Like, they were having a conversation with their listeners.
Right.
Right.
So thinking about everything they talked about,
Yeah.
what stood out to you the most?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
were there any wins
Yeah.
or controversies that you found particularly interesting?
Yeah, or surprising even. Yeah.
And what about the band?
Oh, yeah. Back from Death.
Yeah. Did their story kind of resonate with you at all?
Yeah, or did their sound, like, make you want to check out their music?
And I thought it was interesting how they kept coming back to those fundamental questions.
Yeah, about art and entertainment and...
Yeah, and like what the point of it all is.
Yeah, and they weren't afraid to be critical
Right.
of the Oscars and even some of the movies.
Yeah, and I thought their discussion about Moonlight was really interesting.
Yeah, like they weren't afraid to go against the grain
Yeah.
and say that they didn't think it was a good movie.
Right.
Even though it won Best Picture.
Yeah, that takes guts.
It does.
Yeah.
And that whole wrestling thing,
Oh, yeah.
like that really shows how...
Different people connect with things.
Exactly. Like what might seem totally irrelevant to one person
Yeah.
could be like super meaningful to someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that debate about whether wrestling is art,
Yeah.
like, where do you stand on that?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
It's definitely entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
But is it art? I don't know.
It's a good question.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to get the full picture of everything they talked about,
Yeah.
you should definitely check out the actual Toon Talk 2.0 episode.
Yeah.
Like hearing it all in their own words.
In context.
Yeah, in context with all the little details.
Yeah.
It'll give you a much better sense of their whole perspective.
Yeah. And you might discover some new movies or bands to check out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So ultimately, what do you think?
About the Oscars?
Yeah, like, do they even matter anymore?
In this day and age,
Yeah,
with all the streaming services and...
Yeah, and like everyone having their own platform and...
Yeah, exactly. Like...
Is there even a need for these big awards shows anymore?
I don't know.
It's a good question to think about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Virus and Jake were trying to get at.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like they weren't just talking about the Oscars.
They were talking about the whole state of the entertainment industry.
Yeah, and how we consume it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's something to consider.
Okay.
In a world where everyone has a platform
Right.
to share their views
Yeah.
instantly.
Like on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do these big events like the Oscars
Yeah.
need to change
Right.
to stay relevant?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Like, how do they adapt to this new landscape?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer,
Me neither.
but it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode.
Mhm.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, this was fun.
It was. It was a little different,
Yeah.
but I liked it.
Me too.
Yeah. Until next time.
See ya.
Discovery Roger, go for deploy. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.